Now, here's our government story. The city of Portland may well undergo a change in its government structure, which a lot of people think would be a great idea. But as we start to drill down a bit, many of you have questions, and tonight we have the answers. A group called the Charter Change Commission is studying this. It should be called the Change Our Broken Government Commission. They're proposing expanding the number of city council members from 4 to 12 plus the mayor. They believe that can be done without increasing costs. And lots of you are skeptical about that. Mike wrote, the cost to increase the size of the city council could be huge, considering the need for office space and the large staffs they end up with. And John wrote, really? Give Debbie Kitchen credit for being able to say with a straight face that a 12-person Portland City Council would result in efficiencies that reduce the cost of local government. Really? Well, really, that is what they told us. I took the question again to Andrew Spear, who's a member of the commission.
So right now the city has 27 bureaus, and within those bureaus, some of the bureaus share services like human resources or communications. But a lot of the bigger bureaus, thinking like PBOT or the Water Bureau, they have their own services, meaning their own HR department or their own comms department. And so there's no unified city, HR department that covers all hiring for all bureaus. And so you think about the number of full-time employees that are needed to staff within those silos, and then you think about them being consolidated over time, and then the need for less FTEs for, say, comms or certain legal services, that then creates efficiencies on the back end. And the other dynamic being that we are expecting that because commissioners or city council members wouldn't be having management of bureaus, that there's also a decrease in their staff.
By the way, I checked today, 3 of the 4 current Portland City Commissioners each have 7 people on their staff. One has 9. Andrew Spear there told me that under the new charter, they would envision each commissioner having just 2 staff members. So doing the math, that would cut 30 total staff for just 4 commissioners down to 24 for the expanded 12-person council. Others have asked about the plan to have 4 districts with 3 council members from each. Why not just 12 districts with 1 council member from each? In fact, as Greg put it, why not have more districts than 4 with each district simply electing 1 person? Seems much simpler to me.
For me, it comes down to a representation. The discussion we've had on our commission is how do we create spaces for the most diverse representation? And when you think about single member districts, there's really opportunity for whatever demographic lives in that district that is the majority, that's going to be the form of representation versus kind of a more holistic representation that might cover, I live in East Portland, and so there might be, many different ethnicities representing my district when formed. So versus, say, just the status quo, right, of whoever the popular majority is in that given space.
I see. So basically, it theoretically possible if you had 12 spaces that you would end up electing 12 white people, even though they're living in more diverse areas. If the popular vote puts them through, then they're in, and you're not getting the diversity citywide that you would hope.
Agreed. And I think that also within this proposal, the notion of needing to tie that with the ranked choice voting, which we propose as part of our package. And so the multi-member districts and the ranked choice voting go together well to help create more diversity just in general on council.
So you heard him mention that ranked choice voting. Ranked choice voting is another idea which allows voters to pick not just the top person they want to represent them, but also the second and third person, maybe even more. That tends to help lesser-known candidates and less extreme candidates, and the commission hopes that would lead to a more diverse city council. Finally, some of you wonder about the plan to hire a professional city manager who would run everything along with the mayor. Don wants to know, will the new city manager be an elected or appointed position, and who makes the appointment?
Under our proposal, that position would be appointed or would be nominated by the mayor and then confirmed by city council. And so city council would have a chance to weigh in and again, that's analogous, right, to thinking about the president nominating a secretary and Senate confirming that person. So then the mayor would then have, day-to-day management authority over that individual and working in tandem with that person. And then also have the ability to, under our proposal currently, have the ability to fire that individual if cause.
So there you go. I'm sure you have more questions to fire off, so send us those emails or leave us a voicemail and we'll dig out the answers for you. Also, what do you think about those answers you just heard? Are you still skeptical? Let me know. I look forward to the dialogue with you. Let's shift back for a moment to last night's show. We explained Portland's fascinating campaign finance program. It aims to take big money influence out of local elections and give you, the voters, a bigger voice. Anyone running for mayor, auditor, or city council can sign up for the program. All they have to do is gather at least $5 in donations from 250 different people who live in Portland. And once they hit that amount, they can qualify for an incredible 9-to-1 match on the first $20 of each donation. 9-to-1, that is a ton of money. And a lot of you had some important questions about that program. Ray asked, did you say where the funds from the city came from? Well, that's a great question, Ray. The money comes from the city's general fund bucket, and according to the director of the program, they only take about 0.03% of the city's total budget.
It's a tiny fraction of money that then ensures that our entire government is accountable to the city. So typically these programs, even though they cost a little bit of money, they save money, because if you aren't taking money from big donors, then you aren't doing some patronage to those donors through the city budget process.
And Robert had a great follow-up request. He said, you didn't tell us how well those candidates that actually took part in that program did in the last election cycle. Well, Robert, you're right. Sorry about that. Here's your answer. In the last city election cycle in the spring and fall of 2020, Carmen Rubio, Mingus Mapps, and Dan Ryan all used the Open and Accountable Elections program, as they call it, and all three won. The one outlier, Mayor Ted Wheeler. He did not use the program, but his main opponent, Sarah Iannarone, did.